Southeastern, Coach Wayde, the group dealing with a little bit of adversity, obviously, going into this season, and now on the floor and getting prepared for it. Joining us here on Off the Bench is second-year head coach Will Wayde here on OTB. Coach, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning, guys.
Good to be back here year two, obviously the off-season, Coach. Wayde Sims, who is a Baton Rouge kid who we watched grow up playing AAU ball and University High and all throughout AAU during his prep days and then the first 2 years at LSU. I know that you consulted coaches who have been through this, but just from a personal standpoint, the last couple of weeks in dealing with the grief and adversity of losing one of your players.
I mean, it's been tough on all of us, on our staff, our players, everybody involved in our program. But we're trying to move forward as best we can, and every day or two there's a reminder of Wayde. We have permanent reminders, obviously, with his locker and that sort of thing. But this is something that's gonna stick with us for a while and be with us, for this season and beyond. But Wayde would want us to move forward and to honor him by playing hard and doing what we do best. And I think it's gotten a little bit better now that we're in a routine. We're in our normal practice routine. We're in our normal preparation mode. We're getting into scrimmages. We're getting ready to play games. So hopefully that routine will help us continue to progress and move forward. But there's certainly good days and bad days, and good moments and bad moments as we move on from this, or try to move forward from this as best we can.
Coach, I went to
you mentioned that Southeastern game. We're going to do on the Tuesday the 6th when we open against Southeastern. We're going to do we're our athletic department, our program. We're going to have we're going to honor Wayde at that game. So it should be a pretty special night, hopefully.
And you guys will wear a patch all season long on your jerseys.
Yep, we're going to wear a patch. We're going to wear a patch on our jerseys. There'll be some different things that we do,
Coach,
to honor him. But he'll be with us all year.
For sure, and I went to the open practice that you guys held the Saturday at Georgia, and T-Bob and I were talking in the studio that Monday morning before we went on air, and he said, what was the thing that jumped out on the basketball team? And really, it was the things that you missed from him on the floor and trying to play catch-up with some of the new guys and doing some of the dirty work that Wayde had kind of grown into taking on the responsibility for your team. After watching them practice for the first time, you could see where you miss him on the floor as well, but some of those new guys that are catching up and taking on some of that responsibility.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a void there on the floor. He was one of those guys. He didn't do a lot to necessarily wow you on offense, but he never made any mistakes defensively. He never made any mistakes on offense. Now we've got some guys that can do some wild things, but there's a lot of mistakes there. And so Wayde was one of those guys I really trusted. And he'd have played a major role for us this coming year. He had worked extremely hard. He'd put himself in a great position. And so now it's on us to grow these other guys up. And like I told him, we no longer have our safety net, and so we've got to grow these guys up and get them ready and get them out there playing as hard and as fast as we can and making as few mistakes as possible. But I think it is something that we're going to miss basketball wise, but we got to move forward and grow these other guys up and get them ready to go.
Yeah, and look, it's just an impossible amount of adversity to have to deal with, and in those situations you do kind of see leaders coming to the forefront at times. Who's responded in terms of leadership on this team?
I think we're more of a leadership by committee. We got different guys who step up. Obviously, Tremont, Skylar, guys who have been around a little bit. Darryl leads in his own way, just in terms of lead by example, and he's more of a quiet leader. Javante, the freshman, has very good leadership and has a good way about him. He's able to get folks to follow him and play tenaciously like he does. So I think there's it's really a group approach, committee approach, and guys are coming together, and we're trying to make this thing happen this year.
And what about Tremont Waters? Because he was so good last season. The expectations for him are obviously going to be sky high this season. From what you've seen in the offseason, like, do you think Tremont Waters is ready to fulfill those expectations?
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I think he's a much, much better player now than he was, this time last year, or really at any time last year. I think he's much improved. The pace, his knowledge, just everything. I think he's light years ahead of where he was last year, and it's going to show. Going to show on the court. I think he's going to be one of the most improved players in the country.
You knew, and it was evident when hearing you speak about your team last season, especially defensively, that you were missing that rim protector. You talked about it a lot. Seems like you've got that guy now in Cavell Bigby-Williams, and watching you guys practice, he seems like a spark player for you coming off the bench or maybe in a starting role early in the season. How has he developed with the year out last year and now expectation going in to where he's eligible going into the season?
Yeah, he's been great. He's just been huge. The year off, he worked extremely hard. He worked in the weight room, worked on the court. He got as much out of that redshirt year, and really we don't like to refer to it as a redshirt year. We like to refer to it as a development year. But he got a lot out of that development year. Really got better, really got stronger, committed himself, and he's been phenomenal. The best part about him is, the couple times the lights have been on, whether it was a scrimmage against another team or whether it was in the arena there in front of the fans. I mean, he's shown up big time. He's played his best basketball in those situations, and so that's what you want. He's been very solid in practice. He's very consistent in practice. But when those lights come on, or when you're playing other guys, you gotta be able to produce, and he's been able to do that for us.
Coach, y'all are ranked in the top 25. We're talking LSU men's head basketball coach Will Wade here on 104.5, 100.3 ESPN. Ranked in the top 25. Do you address that with the team at all? Like, what's your kind of messaging in house?
No, we haven't said anything about it. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about it. I mean, it doesn't mean a whole lot, and we'll be out of there real quick if we can't take care of Southeastern or in Greensboro and these guys as we start the season. So, I don't think that stuff matters till you've played about 10 or 12 games and you're into the season and you have an idea of what you got. That's just based on, who we've got back, a little bit of recruiting hype. And, that doesn't do us any good if it doesn't come together on the court. So we're just focused on what we need to do every day, what we need to do to get better every day, to build better habits, to have better attention to detail, and to earn the right to win. We got to earn it. And within our league, I think you say we're predicted 23rd, but we're also predicted 6th in our league. So 6 to me is very average. There's 14 teams in a league. 6, that's the middle of the league. That's very, very average. I don't think any of us are here to be average. I don't think any of us are here to do anything that's average. That's not what we're about. So, you could focus on different parts of it, but we're predicted 6th in a very, very tough league, and that's middle of the road. And so we've got to do everything we can every day and fight tooth and nail to climb up and not be average.
And so, speaking of maybe being average, Coach, where are some areas that you think in this team where y'all need to show the most improvement?
Well, I mean, we got to have better attention to detail with what we do, and so that's something that we're going to really, put the hammer down and get better at this week. We have a good idea of what our concepts are. Now we've got to do them play a little bit lower, play a little bit harder. Just be a little bit more solid with what we're doing now that we have the concepts down. Obviously, our team defense, we've got some breakdowns there with our team defense. I want to continue to focus on not turning the ball over. We share the ball extremely, extremely well. We make the extra pass. We do a great job sharing the ball. We just, we struggle sometimes with turnovers, so we need to make sure we keep those turnovers down and then continue to be a more physical team. We need to be a more physical team that rebounds and can pound people on the glass. So those are areas that we're working hard on. We've been working hard on, and we've got to continue to improve and get better.
Big setback with Marlon here on the hand injury?
Yeah, I mean, in the sense that, man, he was really coming on before he had this. The last week before it was really a freak play in practice, but the last week before he broke the finger, was probably his best week since he had been here. So he was really coming on and really, really playing well. And he's one of those guys that, quite frankly, really needs these scrimmages that we've had. We had one on Sunday, and we've got another one coming up this Saturday, and he needs that. He hasn't played at this level. He's coming off junior. He really needs that. So, but there's nothing we can do about it. We've got to heal him up as quickly as we can and hopefully get him back as early as we can here at the beginning of the season and get him ready to go.
Last one, Coach. You might have found one in Will Reese. Good basketball player.
Yeah, he's a real good basketball player. Solid player. He's got good height. He's got can shoot the ball. He's got very good instincts. He has very good understanding of team defensive concepts. And I'm glad Coach Beneri alerted us to him. But he's a good athlete and he could really play. So we're very, very fortunate to have him. He's a great walk on and a great player.
Was that targeting on Devin White?
No.
Good call.
See you at lunch.
No.
Later, man.
Huh?
See you at lunch.
See you guys.
Oh,
Bye.
look at Jordy.
Will Wade join us. We're at City Club.